What's up, everybody? Good morning. It's good to see you all in today. So we've got this set up so that you can turn on your cameras if you wish. I'm going to be practicing along with you, but from time to time, I'll take a look at the screen here in front of me so I can offer feedback on your practices. Now, it goes without saying, if you want to leave your camera off, that's totally cool as well. But today, you'll just need some bare feet and a yoga mat. So when you got that, just sit up very tall. And we'll start with some esoteric breathing practices. For the next few moments, close your eyes. And as you continue settling in, just pay attention to your inhaling and your exhaling. If your mind wanders, then notice and redirect. So today's breath is called Shatali Pranayama, an old school breathing practice, and in traditional literature, it's said to be helpful for the avoidance of sudden contagious diseases. Most likely a yoga myth that, but it does make you feel great, and who knows, maybe it'll work. So this being the time of the coronavirus, we'll give it a shot just in case. Now this one is pretty easy and self-paced. You're just going to create the sound C through your teeth repetitively. We'll start together. As soon as you end one huge exhale, take another big inhale and do another round wider way. And as you continue that over and over again, I'll just let you go on your own and I'll let you know when to stop. So don't be shy about this one. Just breathe all the way in and hiss through your teeth. All right, everybody return to normal breath. Now for the next few moments as you breathe, pause your breath at the end of your exhales for about 5-6 seconds. Just try to relax your mind as you pause. And then continue over and over, pausing at the end of your exhales, relaxing mentally and physically. And join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Think of someone in your life who could use some good energy. And then mentally dedicate your practice to them and send them some good vibes in whatever way it is that you like to do such things. And when you're ready, then open your eyes. Well, so far as beginnings are concerned, you can't go wrong with a cat-cow Kriya. So we'll start with those. Let's go ahead and step back to a 4-pointed kneeling position with your shoulders above your hands. You can play around with it a little bit. Usually you want your knees to be just a bit behind your hips. Now, a Kriya is some type of cleansing motion. So round your back with your exhales and roll your tail under. Arch your spine in the other direction with your inhales. Lift your tailbone and your chest. And then just continue alternating back and forth. Use your exhales for the rounding and your inhales for the arching. When you round, really press down through your hands. As you do that, feel the space between your shoulder blades stretching. When you arch in the other direction, lift your tailbone and your collarbones as high as you can until your middle back sways like a cow. And then just start getting all creative about what you're doing. Move around in any way, shape, or form that feels good in that posture. And as you move, know that there is no wrong choice. Just experiment, see what feels nice, and do a little bit more of that for a while. And pay attention to what feels good to your body, and your body will direct you through what to do. You don't necessarily have to conjoin every motion with a breath, but do your best to keep breathing deeply. And then curl your toes under and back and lift your hips all the way upward in the air for the downward facing dog. Now this first time, bend your knees a tad. Lift your tailbone higher into the air. Drive out through your hands and let your chest sink just a bit closer to your thighs. And shake your head yes a couple times to loosen up your neck. And then finally, elongate your legs and press your heels down toward the floor just a little bit at a time. Now, once you're in the posture, some old school pedaling is great. Just bend one leg and then straighten the other one. Rotate your torso from one side to the other side as you continue your pedaling. Today we'll start with some old school classical sun salutations. Take a look forward and then step or hop forward to your thumbs. Come upwards to your fingers once you've done that. Once your spine is feeling pretty long, then fold forward with your exhale. Use an inhale to sweep all the way up to standing with a straight spine. And then join your hands at your chest with your exhale. So these ones are a little different in that there's no push-ups at all. For now, use an inhale to sweep your arms upwards and backwards for a minor back bend. Forward fold with your exhale, taking your arms out to the sides and then down. Lift to your fingers to elongate your spine. Then step your right foot all the way back and come up to a lunge. Use an inhale to sweep your arms outwards and then upwards. As you hold there, press back solidly through your rear heel. Drop your left sitting bone closer to the floor to deepen the lunge. And at the same time, tuck your ribs down in the front, so there's no back bend in this one at all. And then lean forward and plant your hands on the ground and step to the down dog. Now on this first side, the right leg does all the work, so take a look forward and then step your right foot all the way up to your hands. Make sure you turn your back heel up to face the ceiling and then come up to that lunging pose again. Roll your left hip forward to the front and kick back through your rear heel till your leg feels really long. Drop your right sitting bone straight down toward the floor and then tuck your ribs down in the front at the same time, which should slightly intensify the stretch. Now lean forward and plant your hands on the ground. Step forward to the front of your mat. Come all the way up to your fingertips. And then fold again with your exhale. Standing back bend. Use an inhale to sweep upwards. Press your arms overhead as well as back. Forward fold with your exhale, arms out, and then down. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Step your left foot all the way back. If it's comfortable, take your knee to the ground. Otherwise, you can definitely leave it up. Sweep your arms out to the sides and down. This time, allow a back bend. Rest your ribs forward. Press your arms overhead as well as back until your arms stop. Just draw your chin down toward the chest so that the back of your neck feels long. Now lean forward and plant your hands, and then we're stepping back to that down dog. Body follows the gaze, so take a look forward. Rock your shoulders toward your hands. Step your left foot to your thumbs. Take your back knee down to the ground, all the way back up to the full lunge, if possible, with knee down. Now you want to sink your hips really, really low with this one, so let them drop down and forward. Thrust your chest a little further ahead, and with arms pressing back to the rear, take another slight and minor back bend. Now plant your hands down there upon the floor. Step forward to the front of your mat. Come all the way up to your fingertips. Forward fold from there. Use your inhale to sweep all the way up to the top. And once you're up there, interlace your hands. Point your index finger up to make it look all pretty. And then stretch up through your wrists until your arms go straight. The half moon pose. Side bend your torso to your right. Squish the mat under your left foot to anchor the base. And use your right arm to pull length into your whole left side. Use your next inhale to come all the way back up. That's it, Irina, well done. All right, switch it over to the left-hand side. It's not going to move much, but squish the mat under your right foot, really press down through your heel. And pull a little bit more with that left arm just to create a ton of length in your side again. Use an inhale to come all the way back up. Then fold forward with your exhale and take your hands to the earth like you did before. Next one is all bent-legged. So bend your knees a bunch and then come up to the chair with arms lifted to the ceiling. Joining your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Twist yourself right. Lean forward and hook your left elbow completely over your legs. And press your hands together and twist some of the tension out of your back muscles as you hold. Use your next inhale to sweep both arms all the way back up. Join your hands together in a prayer. Twisting off to your left, lean forward, hook your elbow all the way over your leg. Once you've got some elbow and thigh contact, just keep pressing those hands together to spin. And then use an inhale to sweep both arms all the way back up. Straighten your legs to stand up tall. And at the front of your mat, join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. All right, inhale to sweep your arms upwards. Exhale and fold forward. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. High push-up position. Lower all the way down to your stomach. Now once you're laying down, keep your feet kissing the floor. Lift your collarbones upward in the air. And then lift your hands off the ground to make sure they can't help you. Now once you've accomplished that, slide your hands back a little bit so your hands are placed right near the base of your ribs. Squeeze your shoulders back in together. And just keep your legs like they are. Your chest lifted in exactly that way. And press down through your hands to come to the upward dog. Stretch back through your toes. Lift upwards through your chin. And then just take a few more breaths as you hold. All right, back to the downward facing dog. This time, drive out through your hands and press both of your heels closer to the floor. At the same time, let your chest drop just a bit closer to your legs. Now, arm balances are much easier if your arms and chest aren't all cooked from push-ups. So we're just going to get to it right off the bat. Step or jump to the front of your mat. Come up to your fingertips. And then to set up for the crow, come down to a deep squatting stance with your knees way out to the sides. Now, if you know the pose, you should just go for it. Otherwise, plant your hands on the floor about shoulder distance wide. Now, remember your fingers are like brakes. Crazy glue your fingers to the floor and they'll help to stabilize the balance. Once you've stuck your legs on your arms, lift your butt a little bit, lean weight into your hands, and maybe take one foot up or both feet completely off of the ground. That's it. Try to look forward a little bit more. Keep your chin lifted. Really dig those fingers into the floor like tiger claws for now. Amy, that was airtime. Good. Feel free to come down, rest a little bit if necessary, and then maybe give it another shot. Edwidge, you are officially flying. Look at that. Beautiful. Nice job, you. That's it, Tara. Lean forward just a little bit. Yeah, lift off. All right, everybody, chaturanga push-up. Kind of unfair after the crow, but it'll keep you strong. Then the up dog with an inhale. And the downward facing dog with your exhale. Warrior one. Step your right foot forward. Turn your left heel down. Square your hips with the front. Reach your arms out to the sides and then upwards. If you like, keep your hands apart. If you prefer, interlace your hands with your index finger pointed up, stretch up through your palms. For the next few moments as you bend into your front leg, just gaze up toward your outstretched hands. The back leg really, really straight, and the heel on the ground. Lean forward and plant your hands. Step back for chaturanga push-up or substitute with a down dog. Big breath in for the upward one. Exhale for the downward dog. Step your left foot forward. Spin that back heel to the earth there. Then up you come. Arms to the sides and up. Take the same hands position you did before, either together or not. With your back leg straight, the front leg bending, gaze up towards your outstretched hands and breathe as deeply as you can. Now lean forward and plant. Step back to the high plank position. Lower down. Then the up dog with your inhale. And the down dog stretch with your exhale. Step your right foot all the way forward. Walk your hands across the ground to face the long edge of your mat. Now turn your toes out and bend your legs substantially, and then come up to the horse position, both arms up. All right, now to open your chest, put your arms in the getting arrested posture. Interlace your hands behind your head. Squeeze your elbows back in together, and then side bend your torso to your left. Try to keep your legs bent, and both your belly as well as your chest facing the front of the mat. Use an inhale to come all the way back up. Switch over to whichever side has not been done. Keep breathing as you hold. Use an inhale to come all the way up. Straighten out your legs completely. Reach your arms out to the sides of the class. And turn your feet so they're parallel to the front and the back of your mat. Our warrior two position. Rotate your left foot back. Bend your left leg substantially and sink into your front leg. Gaze all the way out over the tips of your fingers. And try to keep both arms hovering approximately parallel to the floor in space. Straighten your leg all the way. Turn your feet to face the edge. Rotate your right foot forward. Then bend into your right leg. Once you found the position, gaze all the way out over your outstretched hand. Now finally, straighten out your leg to turn your feet sideways. If it's helpful, narrow your stance a little bit. Take a really big step to get all the way back to the front of your mat. Then with your inhale, sweep both arms upwards. And fold forward with your exhale. Lift to your fingers on the inhale. Step your right foot all the way back. Turn your rear heel down to the earth. And then come up to your fingertips. And take your left hand to your left hip. All right, we're going to do a twisty triangle. So straighten your left leg as much as you possibly can. Today, if you need to keep the leg bent a little bit, no biggie, especially since you're not using a block. Now rotate your chest to the left. Belly crunch down like you're doing a little bit of sit-up to engage your abdominals, and then twist a little deeper. Now finally reach your left arm straight upwards in the air to finish what you started there. Beautiful, Olivia, really good. Now bend your leg and plant your hands on the floor. Step all the way back to the downward facing dog. Lunge your right foot forward. Turn your back heel down to the ground. Come up to your fingertips initially for some additional height. Just to get it out of the way, take your right hand to your right hip. Straighten and out your leg as much as possible for you. Rotate right. Now sometimes the ribs kind of poke out, so tuck them down in the front so there's no back bend at all. And as you twist, reach your right arm straight up. I almost never look at the ceiling because it doesn't feel great with my neck. If you like to look up that way, there's nothing wrong with it. You go ahead and go for it. Otherwise, look sideways or down. I've got a different transition here. Take your hands down to the floor, bend your leg, and then walk your hands across the ground to face the long edge of your mat. This time you want your feet really wide, so take them apart just a bit more until they're much wider than your hips. Turn your toes out for the horse, and then bend your legs and just sink down into your inner thigh muscles. And now finally, take your hands to your knees. Lean forward and let your torso get roughly parallel to the floor. Then pressing your knees apart, rotate your chest right. If you can dip your left shoulder toward the right inner knee, straighten your left arm completely, try it. That's not altogether necessary, so long as you're twisting. Square your chest with the ground. Yeah, Uni, that's a great twist. All right, switch it off for the same on the other side. Dip your right shoulder toward your left inner knee. If your arm happens to go straight, let it straighten completely. At the same time, just try to maintain all of that twisting. Square your chest with the floor again. Crisscross your arms under your ribs. And stand up all the way. Reach your arms out to your sides. Take a huge and big step to get back to the front of your mat. Now for now, just close your eyes. Breathe normally. And redirect all of your focus to your inhaling and your exhaling. All right, when you're ready, open up your eyes. Bend your legs substantially, sort of create a shelf for your legs, and cross your left ankle over your right leg in a figure 4 shape. And once the balance is feeling good, reach your arms all the way out to your sides. You can stay up there at the top if you like. Otherwise, lean forward a bit at a time until your torso gets parallel-ish to the floor beneath. If your balance is feeling a little wobbly, stay as you are. Otherwise, grab your left heel with your right hand. Use that to help. Cross your left elbow over the foot. With your hands conjoined in a prayer, press your hands together and just rotate your spine for a deeper stretching in your hip. Now release that very strange twist. Stand all the way up. Take your foot all the way back down to the floor. Thank God, everybody survived that one. Well done. Same on the second side. Bend your legs and cross your right ankle over this time. Now your arms are sort of like the pole that a tightrope walker uses. If you reach them out, it helps the balance. Make sure you keep your standing leg bent. Lean forward a little bit at a time while maintaining it. Rotating complicates this a lot, so if you want to skip it, stay as you are. Otherwise, cross your right elbow over your foot, join your hands together in a prayer, and keep twisting things out for now. Releasing the twist, use an inhale to stand up simply. Draw your knee to your chest. Take your foot back down to the floor. Join your hands together in a prayer at your heart initially. All right, next up, reach your left arm forward. Going for the dancer's pose, not the Vinyasa. Reach your right hand back and grab a hold of your right foot. Kick your foot straight upward into the hands. And then lean forward just a little bit at a time as you maintain your upward kick. Amy's daughter does this very pose flying across the ice at 15 miles an hour. Rather impressive feat, that. All the way back up. Drop your foot. Join your hands together in a prayer. Now, if the balance was kind of shaky, turn your toes out just a teeny tiny bit, almost imperceptibly, and sometimes not, but it's worth trying. Reach your right arm forward. When you reach back to grab your foot, keep your left thumb facing up like a hitchhiker. Once you've got the clasp, kick your foot upward into the hand. And if you're feeling kind of wobbly, just stay there with me. Otherwise, lean forward a little bit at a time and keep kicking. Up you come. Well done. And then drop your foot all the way back down to the floor. All right, y'all, come down to your deep squatting posture with your knees moved out to the sides. So any arm balance ever is always dependent on distribution of body's weight. Now, lots of you are to the point now where you're so close to getting this balance. But what I'm noticing is when you're in this position, you're kind of coming to the point where you're about here, and then you're trying to hop your feet off the floor. Now, if your legs feel really heavy, that just indicates you're not far enough forward with your shoulders. So this next time you sit up, look forward as much as you can and claw the floor with your fingertips. But as you do that, come to that point where you want to start hopping. Instead, shift your shoulders toward your fingers until you can come to your tiptoes. Lift your chin more, dig your fingers down, and then bend your legs like landing gears, and sometimes you'll catch some air. Now, if you already have the crow down and you have another balance you like to practice, you should go for it. Otherwise, try the crow once more. Remember, shoulders forward and fingers dig into the floor like you're trying to bore holes in the ground. Tara, that is so good. Amy, like a boss, that was beautiful. Feel free to rest if you need to. I'll give you time for just one more if you got it in you. Yeah, Olivia, yes, good. Edwidge, why am I not surprised to see you upside down? That was a good one. Nice job, you. All right, everybody, back to it. Come to a seated position and slide your legs all the way forward. All right, I've got a tool in the old booty for health of the lower back, so lower yourself all the way down to your back. Now, once you're laying down on the floor, bend your legs and walk your feet all the way together. Bend your arms to 90 degrees so that your fingertips face up. Press your elbows down and squeeze your shoulder blades back in together. Now this time, draw your right knee towards your chest. Keep your hips level with the ceiling. Press your left foot into the earth and lift your hips up as high as they'll rise. And then take them back down. And self-paced, continue on. Over and over again. Lift your hips and then drop them down. Press strongly through your left heel every time you rise up. Same motion for about 15 more seconds. This next time you come up to the top, pause there. For the next few moments, just keep driving down through your left heel. And then come all the way back down to the floor. So in this one, stance really narrow. Take your feet all the way together. And draw your left knee toward your chest. Your elbows press down to give your shoulder some support. And up you go. Just try to keep your belt buckle level to the ceiling. Drop them back down and continue on at your own pace. Slow, deep breaths. Try to keep your left knee drawn in, your elbows pressing down. 15 seconds to go. That should do it, I believe, so lift your hips all the way up, pause at the end, keep driving your right heel into the floor beneath you. And then come all the way back down to the ground. Roll all the way over onto the left-hand side of your body, or whichever side faces the camera if you need to see this, and prop yourself up on your elbow. Now, it's also important to get your side hips. So with your feet touching, lift your right knee off of your left knee. Now, if you want to modify, you can lift and drop the knee like that. Otherwise, take your hips off the floor. Reach your arm up to the ceiling. As you exhale, drop your hips to the floor. Wrap your right arm under the ribs for a pseudo twist. Use your inhale to lift and open things up again. And keep it going on your own. Use your exhales to drop and your inhales to lift. 30 more seconds of these. All those standing postures you did pump up your quads, but they don't do a ton for your glutes. So all these postures counteract that. Create a little bit more balance in your body after the practice. And also protect your lower back when you start to bend deeper and fold. All right, everybody all the way back down. And then switch all the way over for the same posture on the other side. It's great to lift your knee and drop it down. That still builds a ton of strength in your hips, so modify like that if you wish. Otherwise, up you go. If you're dropping down, remember to cross your left arm under your torso and continue. Every time you rise up to the top, squeeze your booty. Every time you come down, let your knees completely touch, one against the other. About 10 more seconds of those. The next time you rise, lift all the way up to the top. Drop all the way down. And then move all the way back to your four-pointed kneeling stance. Walk both hands all the way forward for the puppy dog pose. And then let your chest sink down toward the floor beneath you. It may well be the case that your elbows don't come to the floor, which is totally cool. If they do come to the floor and you want to explore the possibility of putting your forehead or your chin on the floor, let them come all the way down to the earth. And then just get really heavy in your chest. It's a little more challenging to breathe deeply here, but nevertheless, try to breathe with some depth. And then round your spine a bit to lift your elbows off the ground. And roll your hips all the way back down to the earth. Take your elbows down to the ground so you look like a sphinx. If it feels 100% okay with your lower back, work towards straighter arms. But if they straighten, you'll most likely have to slide your shoulders down away from the ears toward your belly. Now, without actually sliding your hands, try to pull your hands back toward your waist to drag your chest a little further forward. And then lift up through your chin. Roll yourself all the way down to your belly. Plant your hands near the bottom rim of your ribs. Use your back strength to lift your chest. Take your hands off of the mat to make sure your hands are not helping you. And then plant your hands on the floor. Flex your legs until your knees fly off the earth. It's like doing a weird back bendy push-up. Hold the back bend, keep your legs stiff, and just press to rise to the up dog. Lift your chin and look forward for now, and keep breathing throughout. All right, you're all back to the downward facing dog. Press your heels a slight bit closer to the ground. All right, yogis, it's choose your own adventure time. Any back bend that you would like to practice. Give you 2 minutes for that. If you're uncertain of what to do, practice the puppy dog a few more times. Otherwise, the bowl posture on your belly, the camel's pose from your knees, the wheel posture from the back are all great possibilities. Over the course of those 2 minutes, you have time. So if you want to improve your practice, choose one back bend that you like and choose one back bend that you don't, and try to make some progress with both. If your back becomes at all sensitive between, you can always do a twist to relieve some of the tension. Well, those of you in the camel's pose, really drive your knees into the floor, lift up to the walls of your chest and your ribs. If you're doing the bow, try to lean weight forward toward your collarbones, which will sometimes help your feet press higher into the air. Got about 1 minute to go. That's it, uni. Beautiful back bend. Olivia, great toe touch. Nice. 30 more seconds. Okay, come all the way back down to the ground. We'll meet up today in the child's pose with hips dropped toward the heels. Come back to your four-pointed kneeling position. Now this next one is for stability. If it's too much, you can always do this one on your knees. Otherwise, curl your toes under, straighten the legs, and maintain your plank. Now as you hold there, imagine you've got a glass of water positioned between your shoulder blades, and try not to lose a drop. As you keep your torso stationary, touch your left hand to your right shoulder, then your right hand to your left shoulder, and just alternate back and forth between the two, keeping your torso really, really straight. These are hard, so just about 10 more seconds. Squeeze your butt a little bit as you keep shifting. Then take both hands down to the ground. And with that glass of water still stable, draw your left knee towards your chest, and then the right knee, and alternate back and forth with both. Some crazy people draw both knees to the chest simultaneously, but that's a practice for another day. Just keep alternating. And then step back to the plank and take your knees down to the ground. Now, if it's helpful, walk your hands back just a little bit more and thread the needle. Sweep your left arm across your center line until your shoulder comes down to the ground. If possible, let the side of your head rest on the earth. Press down to come up. Then repeat the same pose on the other side there. Right arm crosses all the way over the center line. Then press all the way down to come up. Roll over under your hip, and then spin around to face the camera. All right, so this next one, it oftentimes takes 15, 20 Thursdays to get down. So we're going to break it down step by step, and you choose the one that works best. To start, bend your legs and plant your feet flat on the floor. Turn your body that way, over to your right. I'm going to do my left, so it looks like we're doing the same thing. And then from there, rotate your chest toward the camera again and place your left hand on the floor behind you. Now, once your left hand is down, reach your right arm straight upward into the air. Separate your knees a little. Glide your hand through the space you've created and jam your right wrist behind your left knee. So the arm goes between the legs and you jam your right wrist behind the left knee. Now, once you've done that, take your knees all the way down to the floor. Slide your booty back a little bit and then over to the right. Walk your left hand over even further and then lean over to the side. And if you're able to, keep your hands in a push-up position and lean forward till your ribs physically come to the ground. All right, now if you've gotten that far, put one leg on top of the arm, the right leg on top of the arm. Crisscross your ankles and press out through your feet. And then as you forward lean, press down hard and try to lift some of your body off the floor. Ashtavakrasana, the crooked in 8 places pose. Good. Come all the way down and then switch off in the other direction. So in this one, you want to put the arm between your legs as opposed to outside of the legs. So with your knees separated, slide your left arm through. Yeah, Amy, there it is right there. And then jam your left wrist behind the right knee. As you lean over to the side, plant your hands on the floor. Now, our body's proportions, there is difference, so you have to experiment. I have to slide my hips back and over to the left so I can keep my hands in a push-up position. But you just play around with it and see what you need. The most important thing is they stay in that really wide push-up position. Then you lower your chest all the way down to the floor. All right, you're halfway to glory. Put your left leg on top of the arm. Crisscross your ankles, which will sort of hook everything into position. Yeah, Tara, perfect. Now press out through your feet to lock your legs against the arm. Lean forward, press like crazy, and try to lift something off the floor a little bit. Yeah, Olivia. All right, good thing we don't have 3 sides, right? It's very hard. Come all the way back down, and then find your way to the seated position once more. Spin around to face the front of your mat. Reach your arms directly ahead, and then roll all the way down your back to fully lay down on the floor. Once you're laying down there, reach both arms all the way out to your sides. Draw your knees towards your chest. And then drop your knees right and rotate your gaze left. And sweep your knees all the way back upward. And take them over for the same twisting pose on the other side. And then sweep your knees all the way back up. Find your way to the corpse pose, flat out on your back on the floor. So the other day I was teaching a class in the Boston area and one of my colleagues came to class. Sometimes we take one another's classes so we can get some feedback and some inspiration and so we can sort of trade ideas with the other people in our profession. In that respect, we're just like any profession. Now, at the end of the class, I noted that one of the students who had been flowing with us caught that teacher after class, and I think she sort of wanted to get some weight off of her chest. So she was communicating to him some of the challenges she's been going through as of late, and you could really tell that those challenges were absolutely stressing her out. After we listened, we sort of took a step back for a moment, and he said, sometimes we're really challenged by life. And in those experiences, it's a great opportunity to step up to the challenge to grow into something better and bigger. Now, I suppose those pithy words of wisdom made sense, intellectually speaking, but what I noticed is it actually didn't seem to make the woman feel any better. In fact, she actually seemed to be somewhat dejected. And I'm only guessing, but I think she probably felt like that because she didn't feel like she was being heard. Now, I know for me in particular, if I run into somebody in my life who's suffering a little bit, I love them. I don't want them to feel like that. And so my immediate reaction too is to try to give some helpful advice to make the problem better. Now, the thing that I've noticed over and over again is my supposedly wise words of wisdom almost never help. And in fact, more often than not, they make the situation worse. Now, after I saw that and reflected on the fact that I do the same damn thing from time to time, I was trying to reflect on people in my life who seem to handle those types of situations better. And I recalled my teacher, Lama Migmar Seton. He's a wonderful man that I've studied with for over 13 years at this point. Now, many years back, my ex-wife and I were trying to have kids, and we suffered from two miscarriages. It was absolutely brutal. It happened over the course of many different years, and it was really, really tough for both of us. Now, at that point, many people tried to give me advice. Many people tried to take my mind off the problems by just trying to entertain me and other things like that, but none of that stuff really seemed to help too terribly much. And all that pain was sort of percolating there under the surface. I remember one night I went to the center to do some meditation, and I hadn't told the Lama about my problems, but somebody had told him what I was going through. And at the end of the class, it was really touching. He just asked me to come up front. He held my hand in his, and he looked me straight in the eyes. I could see that he had tears in his eyes, and he really, really cared. And I'll tell you what, he didn't say anything. He just looked at me, but I could see in his look that he cared so much about my pain. And that was actually one of the most healing things that anybody did over the course of those 2 years. Now, I think these days, everybody is suffering in different ways. And I know your people depend on you in so many different ways. I also know that if you're anything like me, it's really hard to know what to do or to say in those situations. Now, everybody's different and it doesn't always help, but sometimes if you can just let yourself feel what the person is feeling, they can actually sense that. And in some way, at least they'll feel supported and not alone in their pain. So today, the world being full of the suffering that it is right now, I thought we would do an old school practice that can help you cultivate this type of feeling. It's an amazing practice called Tonglen. Now, I certainly don't want to proselytize or put my tradition on you, so if you have particular prayers from your own tradition that make you feel close and connected to the people in your life, you should feel free to do those. Otherwise, try this one with me. It's been around for thousands of years because it works really, really well. Now, to start it out, you need an object for your practice. So bring to mind a friend or a family member that's suffering or experiencing some obstacles. It doesn't have to be a human being. You can practice for animals too if you wish. Any life form. Now, this is a visualization-based exercise, coordinated with breathing. The next time you exhale, imagine you could send your love and your compassion to your person, carried by your breath. And as your breath touches them, imagine them receiving happiness and healing. As you inhale, imagine you could breathe that person's pain into your body in a thick cloud of smoke that collects in the middle of your chest. Transform that smoke and send love and compassion with your next exhale. Breathe in the smoke with a big inhale. Actually let yourself feel what they're feeling to the best of your ability. And as you exhale, send all of your love and compassion back to them in a healing stream of white tinted air, like a healing fog. Draw the smoke into your lungs with your inhale. Transform it in the middle of your heart. Send your love and your compassion over and over again. For the next few moments on your own, just repeat. So I've many times over in my life suffered anger projected onto other people in my life. I've noted that anger seems to serve as a protective force. I think more than anything, it just tries to keep me safe. Now, even so, I've also noted that it kind of hurts to hold that anger. And I've also noticed that whatever anger I hold toward the person that I'm projecting it onto actually hurts me and doesn't do anything to them. I've also observed that it's altogether possible to maintain boundaries while letting go of some of that anger. And for me, at least, this next practice has been very helpful in that respect. So, next, bring to mind somebody you don't like, somebody who pushes your buttons just a little bit. And keeping in mind the fact that Rome wasn't built overnight and that this will take some time and practice, do the same exercise. Send your love and your compassion with your exhales in beautiful streamers of white color there. Imagine that person receiving healing. As you inhale, draw their pain and suffering deep into your heart in a thick, billowing cloud of smoke. Feel what they feel, transform it, and send your love and your compassion with your exhales. Then consider a stranger, some person you don't know at all. First person who comes to mind. And then in your way, to the best of your ability, relate to them as well. Send your love and your compassion to them with your exhales. Imagine their obstacles clearing and imagine them healing. When you inhale, draw their pain and suffering into your body, whether real or imagined. Transform it in the middle of your chest. And send your love and your compassion with your exhales. And the final practice is somewhat aspirational, and it's good to aspire. So bring to mind every living life form on the planet with an awareness of its own existence. So people and animals, fishes and birds, everything that populates the earth, anything that knows that it's alive. And then once more, just practice opening up your heart and your love and your compassion out across the whole planet. Imagine healing occurring everywhere. As you breathe in, draw in all their pain in thick, billowing clouds of smoke. Transform it in the middle of your chest and send love and compassion in its place. For the next few moments, return to normal breaths. all those visualizations drop. And pay attention to your inhaling and your exhaling. So I very much wish that I had figured out how to relieve the pain of the other people in my life. But as of yet, I've made very little progress in that respect. Sometimes what I have to give isn't wanted, and more often than not, I have no idea what's needed. Now, I've noticed in those times where I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, if I do Tonglen, it absolutely doesn't always make things better. But I think more often than not, it creates some type of connection to the person, and that in and of itself can be very, very healing. Even if it's not healing for the other person, it's healing internally because it helps give you a way to transform some of the negativities in your life to something good. And I think with time, it can absolutely create some pretty substantial life changing shifts in the heart and the mind. So you should experiment a little bit. Next time you're tempted to give some advice, practice Tonglen in its place. Just let yourself feel what the person's feeling. Let them see that you felt it. Maybe possibly you'll see a different outcome. Maybe not, but it's worth experimenting. For now, if you will, let yourself roll all the way over to one side. With both of your eyes closed, come back to a seated and cross-legged posture of some type. And then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Remember that original person you dedicated your practices to. Either pray for or wish for their happiness and their health. Take a moment to be grateful for the gift of another day. And if you wish, repeat after me. May all sentient beings everywhere experience peace.